lips, red dress, damn, red nails, nice, red hair, like, red bottom, yes, red roses. I see this fine lady in red, she's a walking red flags. While we arguing about leftovers, did you hear my compliments? Every night it's wine and dine, just tonight.
What's up, blessed ones? You are now blaring the podcast. Brought to you by AB1 Studios. Thank you for your time. Listening. You wanna know something else, blessed ones? JuneTeenth. Tonight, I'm not going to be long, but happy JuneTeenth. Blessed ones, listeners, everybody. And I first just want to thank God, who is the head of my life. It's been some trials, it's been some tribulations, but I am here. I am here with you tonight, Friday the 19th, not Friday, I'm sorry, Thursday the 19th. And what you first heard when this episode started was my new single, Red, that will be available Friday, June 20th. But that version is my version I did put on YouTube. So it is available on my YouTube page. And I do want to address that because, you know, red has a very significant meaning. You know, it's not just about gang culture. It's also about love. And red is a symbolism of passion, affection, energy, and strength. Also, you know, it has some negative energy to as well, but again, you know, energy can't be killed, can't be created nor destroyed. So I always try to focus on what's good, try to focus on what's positive. Because just to sum up, you know, what red is to me, it's just the passion, the desire that it represents. And being that it is JuneTeenth, and you know, red is one of the significant colors of not just the holiday, but of, you know, our, you know, culture. You know, also green what can, symbolize wealth. You know what I'm saying? And the I want to say yellow as well, and even though that can also symbolize, wealth, it's also a color for justice and hope, equality. These are just certain things that I, try to, do my researches on, because a couple years ago I had made a painting Afrocentric. It was a, simple drawing of a woman, a black woman to be exact, with, orange, yellow, red hair, and the outlines of it was green and yellow, and it's just to symbolize just black excellence. Because what I want to also talk about with Juneteenth, I'm not going to give you a history lesson on Juneteenth, but what Juneteenth means to me and what it should mean to all of you. And even though it is our holiday, the melanated people, the enslaved people's holiday, it symbolizes black excellence to me. Because, like I always say, those of you who know and who can kind of tell by the sound of my voice, I am a black man. I am a melanated man. And I believe strongly that we are the original men. I'm not going to sit here and act like that my bloodline doesn't come from, slavery or wasn't in slavery, but I also want to point out that our culture didn't start here in America. Our culture didn't, start with slavery. Civilization didn't start with slavery. Despite, our history being stolen and, erased and reconstructed, I'm always going to give my glory to God and give my glory to Jesus Christ, despite what others may believe. And I'm also going to stand 10 toes down on the fact that we have to be accountable and be more responsible for ourselves, in a sense of stop trying to look to the Asians, stop trying to look to the Caucasians, stop trying to look to the Indians, because even in some senses that's still us. But it's like we get so abused and oppressed. But I also look at it in the sense of, look at what they did to Jesus. Look at what they did to us in the 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s, and it's just like, man, we our history goes back since before from the beginning. But overall, today, 2025, the world is changing. It's trying to correct itself, but even with it correcting itself, there's a couple things that are being placed and being legitimized that probably shouldn't. But this is the type of things that happen when, a world of corruption is so far removed from what it actually should be. Sometimes the things that were oppressed is now being uplifted, which is great. But I always say, as as important as we are together, and then I'm not just talking about black folks, but even like the other communities. But as important as it is together, there has to be some type of separation, and that's good against the bad. And of course, I do believe that everybody's going to heaven. I do believe that, like, nope, nobody has has ill intentions deliberately on purpose to, go against me or whatnot. But I also have to keep in mind that because of sin and because of my transgressions, because of my struggles, because of my stress and stuff, the devil will use you, and the devil doesn't have no discrimination. The devil will pit your children against you, pit your brother against you, your sister, your parents, even your closest friends against you. Because, like I say, sometimes we blame the devil so much on all the bad that happens in our life. We also have to remember that we have God on our side. But if you ignore God's warnings and ignore his messages, don't listen to people that are intentionally trying to help you, then sometimes that's going to be on you. But the discernment is really where it comes at, because I can't tell somebody they have to listen to me because what I'm saying to them is with good intentions, and God had told me to tell you this. No, it's just, you just have to have discernment. I always try to express how I feel, but my overall bottom line is what I do, what I say. I wanted to have good intentions. I wanted to come from the Most High God. I wanted to be divine intervention when I'm speaking to someone. Even I try to speak that into my life. And, so even in the liberation that our enslaved ancestors have encountered, had experienced, we're still living in some oppressed times, enslaved moments, whether we want to recognize it or not. Because I do believe that even though it was insensitive and ignorant what Kanye West said years ago about slavery being a choice, there is also people now who haven't even been, who didn't even come from that time, but it's like their mindset is still enslaved. Their mindset is still enslaved with, generational curses and misinformation. I'm not the smartest. I'm probably not even going to say I'm the top of the top intellects, but I have enough knowledge, enough information to at least stand up for what I feel and what I believe. So even if I'm sitting here talking to a white privileged person or a white disadvantaged person, or if I'm talking to a non-believer or atheist, if I'm talking to the devil himself, I'll be able to stand 10 toes down and say, this is who I am. This is my desire, but Lord's will be done. Because I have that much faith in my leader and my Father and my God Almighty. And I'll even give you an even bigger example because, again, this is the podcast for the people. I want to share something personal with y'all that happened to me today. And I had to make a decision. So as I go out to get ready to hit the streets, do my deliveries and stuff, I start my car or try to start it. It don't start. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm not doing what I'm. So I wait a little bit. Then it's not even like the lights or nothing that come on. Nothing's coming on. So I decided to be like, you know what? I bought the car for $800 a couple years ago. I put some work into it. I even did my own oil change stuff. And I'm like, all right, I just got a new belt. Just got a new battery. I'm just going to go ahead and just start from scratch now. So I took the belt out, took the alternator out, returned it, and got money for it. I took my radio out as well because I did purchase that and got my money back for it. So the battery is out as well, and I'm trying to take it to Walmart. I didn't have my receipt. Try to return it. They say nothing comes up. The serial number is like nothing comes up for it, so I know I bought it. So I'm looking for the receipt at home. Can't find it. Now I realize, let me just go ahead and make an account. But again, moral of the story is when odds are against you, God is with you. Because even though I wasn't able to return my battery, I'm going to try again tomorrow, but even though I wasn't able to return my battery, I was able to return the alternator, the belt, and the radio. Now, Lord knows that I need this money. Lord knows that I have to get in a position because I still have a son to raise. I still have bills to pay. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what should I do? I don't know what to do. But I don't panic. I just remain to be faithful. So I say all that to say this. Despite slavery, despite the discrimination, the criticism, the oppression, the injustice, the crooked, the corrupted, God is still good. Not to excuse any of that, but we have to remember that God is still good and we have to lean on God. Because just because we have God in our life doesn't mean that bad things won't happen. Don't mean we won't get oppressed. But with God, we will be liberated. Because even though the circumstances might not change, our hearts will change. When you lean on God and Christ and you believe firmly, genuinely, and sincerely, regardless of anything that goes on in your life, no matter how many successful people you know that don't believe in God, no matter how wrong things go, no matter how crooked people are, and they still seem to get rewarded, you have to believe and trust in God. Because the thing about it is to focus on what everybody else is doing, but to focus on what you're doing. Your relationship with God is what matters. When you see things that's going on outside of your life, you'll get discouraged. You will feel a burden that you's like, okay, is God real? Is God seeing this? Sometimes it allows you it will make you doubt God, but God is real. Heaven is for real. And from me to you, Jesus Christ is the way. And that's the difference. Because, the finer things in life isn't always materialistic. Like I said, everybody's going to heaven at the end of the day. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess. Everybody's going to heaven. But on tonight's episode, Juneteenth, June 19th, 2025, Thursday, I tell you this now. Get closer to God. I don't care how much you might see celebrities or millionaires or billionaires or successful people that don't pray, that don't go to church, that don't have no relationship with God. I don't know if they don't have one with them. Maybe because of my perception of them as well. But all I'm saying is you have to get closer to God. Get to know God. I'm sure you can find a Bible somewhere. You know, you don't even have to start from Genesis. Go somewhere in Proverbs, even Psalms. You can even go to Matthew in the Second Testament. And the New Testament, I said the same thing. In the New Testament, go to Matthew. Go to Luke. You know, like you can go to Revelation, but start somewhere. I encourage everybody to do it. I get discouraged sometimes, but on the overall bottom line, I encourage everybody to get a relationship with God. Start one with God. And I had to fix myself as well, because even for me, myself, I see the things that's going on in the world. It's discouraging. I'm not going to sit here and condemn anybody. It's our job to correct, but not condemn. And sometimes when we're judging people, we might not necessarily say that they're going to hell, but we are still condemning them as far as saying, you know, this is what's going to happen if you continue to do this, which is true. However, it's always about representation and presentation. God, it's only one understanding. I say it all the time. We will interpret the Bible however we need to get to understand it, but it's really only one understanding. Heaven is real. Jesus is King. Glory be to God. Cash is king in a world of the material things. But in my world, in the world that I want to be in, that I want to stay in, Jesus is king. God can take me now. I surrender my all to him. I don't want to continue to be part of the in crowd and gossip. There's a fine line between entertainment and salvation. We all have hard times, and sometimes when we talk about other people's lives, talk about what's going on in today's, like, we have the news, we can express our opinion, but we have to be careful on how we deliver it, because when we're talking to an audience and we are supposed to be a representation of Christ, especially if you are a man or woman of God, man or woman of faith of Christ, you have to present yourself a certain way. Not saying that you won't fall, but you have to be more consistent in your ups and downs than you are on your downs and downs. Meaning that you know that you're struggling with something. You are aware of who you are and who you are in Christ. Of course, you're going to fall. Of course, you're going to go through hard times. but there's moments in your life that you recognize that, okay, you're deliberately doing this and you are aware that you're doing it. So sometimes we have to just be a little bit more still. We can't be lukewarm. So even in my judgment and trial that I'm going through now, I oftentimes think about how I show up for others and how others show up for me. I pay attention to what I watch. I pay attention to what what I'm around, what I listen to, because like I say, I still listen to a lot of different type of music, a lot of different type of movies and shows and stuff. And I sit here and think, I said, well, I might not be influenced by this or subconsciously influenced by it, but there's a certain energy that everything has, and sometimes we might not even realize it, but the television, the 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 tablets, the laptops, everything, like, they have energy. And sometimes those energies be so strong they come through and they will take over you. But that's for another time. My main thing is just to remember who you are and remember who you want to be. And most importantly, remember what God has done for you. We have to give ourselves more grace, but we have to stop taking God for granted. We have to let go of those burdens and let go of the struggles and give them to God instead of trying to do everything on your own. It's okay to ask for help, but don't be vicariously trying to live, through that. You want to give all your problems to Christ and see how things change. Because even though things might not feel like things are changing in my life, things are changing in my life. With everything that I've been through, everything I have told y'all these past few weeks, months, years, I never lose faith in God. And I have to start living that way. Because I'm going to tell you, like, there's a lot of, I have struggled with addictions. I have struggled with so much things that I know better than, but I still do it because it's just like a habit. But it's like I can't keep blaming it on habit. I can't blame the devil for everything. I have to take accountability and be like, okay, look, devil, get under me. God, watch over me. But I have to be able to direct and ask God to direct me as I direct my path. I have told myself multiple times it might take me 2 years before I even start, dating exclusively again or even trying to do things. And it's like I've fallen short from it a little bit. I haven't dated, but I've entertained, and I'm like, I don't know if that's something that God wants me to do, but it's something that I feel like I need to do because I know the type of man that I am when I'm dating or involved with somebody else. But I'm not trying to be that man because I also have a son that I need to provide for. I have to be able to provide for my son. I have to be able to provide for myself. So I can't be put in a position where I'm taking care of another person, a woman who might need me to lead her. And I can't lead myself because I'm stagnant, because I'm just getting everything that I feels good, but it's like everything that feels good isn't good. So I need to be liberated and need to be removed from temptations and sins. I used to have a lot of resentment toward women, especially women who were shallow, who was be ghosted. It was almost like, man, am I doing something wrong? This woman ghosted me. Am I doing something wrong? This woman just left me on red. Am I doing something wrong? This woman just keep asking me for things. And even when I give, but it's like, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with me. It might not even have anything to do with them. Sometimes when we desire things so badly, and let's say we get it, things are going well, and then suddenly it starts slipping through our fingers again, or we drop it and then it just gets taken away. That can be a good sign that God is working. He's like, okay, I'm showing something you can have, but let's not lose focus. That's the thing. We cannot lose focus on God. You can do all these phenomenal things, do all these excellent things. You can go out, have fun, enjoy yourself, travel, do all these things. You can date, you can splurge your money. But the thing is to keep your focus on God. When you're doing that, acknowledge God first. That's where I'm at in my life. And I'm not going to tell nobody else how to live their life. But that's where I'm in my life. And I just encourage everybody who is struggling with something, who is having trouble keeping the faith. The only thing I can tell you is just open up that word. Just look around. Take a second. Take a breath. This is hard for me to say. Slow down. Money come and goes. So when you lose money, don't get so disheartened. It's hard, of course, it's difficult, but just like you can lose something just like that, you can also gain something just like that, because God is watching over you. And I'm not going to tell somebody they shouldn't pray. You should always pray, but just remember, God has mercy. God has grace. So sometimes even when you forget to pray or you don't pray, God still has his hands on you. But that's just really the message. Like, we have to remember that despite what we go through, what we've been through, and what we're going through now, God has his hands on your life. And JuneTeenth is a good example. Thousands, tens of thousands were killed just for us to be able to celebrate this day. And regardless of whether they knew that liberation would come to us, whether or not they was actually fighting and dying for us, we're here today in celebration of each other, of those that come before us, and most importantly, God. Because God created the earth. And God gave his only begotten Son, that for whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. And no matter how long it takes, I can be gone for thousands of years before this world is saved and liberated in a totality. But I strongly believe that Christ is King. And whether he's returning tomorrow, 2,000 years from now, God has to live in us. His love has to live in us. So let today just be a reminder of where we come from, where we came from, and where we're going. Slavery was hell for a lot of our people. Jesus died on the cross for us. and he rose again. So always keep it in mind is that thousands died, but thousands more lived. Y'all stay safe, prosperous, productive, and positive.
Red heels, red lights, red wine, tasty, red pennies, red ruby, sexy. There's a lady in red. I ignore the red flags while we on the red carpet. Instead being under the covers, it's obvious you like attention. I'm just trying to be supportive, but I'm feeling a little different. It's been a minute since we kissed. Why keep a distance if it's real? Do you wanna be